Okay, welcome everyone. If you're just joining live, just getting set up. All right, good on Facebook and good on YouTube. Welcome, Christy. I see you there, my friend. All right, I think we're good on YouTube. Beautiful. All right, let's get started. In 3, 2, and 1. Good morning, evening, afternoon, magical beings. Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to another solo-sode here on the Cosmic Love Antenna. I'm so grateful and so honored to be with you here today. As always, you have joined part 6 of my Manifest New Love series, Manifest Romance, Tribe, and New Friends through the Chakra system. Part 6 is the Third Eye Center. This episode is for you today if you're looking for some practical tips, guidance, tools, teachings, understandings around how you can manifest love into your life through the framework that is the chakra system. So stick around to the end, soak up all the little juicy parts. And I'd recommend if you're just tuning in, go back and listen to all the previous parts. If you're listening on the podcast player, I'll put them in the show notes. Speaking of show notes and community and tribe, you can also join this episode here today live on Facebook or YouTube. I see the beautiful Mel and Christy joining in the Facebook. If you have comments and questions today as we flow, as always, add them into the comment section and I will add your voice into this discussion. And finally, if you are listening on the podcast player, if this hits your heart and brings you some value, please share this out with a friend, a family member, a lover that you think it can support and guide. You can do that through Apple or Spotify. Just click the share, message it to someone that you think it can support. Okay, I have so much to share today, so let's get straight into it. So this is part 6, and I'm going to be going into all things third eye around manifesting love. But before we do that, I just want to reiterate, as I always have been with these episodes, the 3 main fundamental manifesting laws that we are living by, embodying as we move throughout this series. Okay, the first is you want to be that which you want to see. Rule 2 is you are not a soul in a body, but you are a body in a soul. And rule 3 is there is nothing outside of you. The consciousness of love that you are, the consciousness of source, divine God that you are, everything is consciousness, everything is you. So to manifest what you want, the way out is in. We go within to get what we want in the outside world. For those listening, I'm using my fingers when I say outside. Okay, so quick summary there of the 3 laws. So with that understanding, now let's go into all things third eye. So these will be themes, tools, teachings around the third eye that you can incorporate to be manifesting new love. So first up here through the third eye is your power of intuition, or your power of spiritual knowing. And I don't say knowing in regards to knowledge that you have gained through this human experience, things that you've learned, things that you've been taught, things that you've been programmed, both positively and negatively. That's another thing. Intuition or spiritual knowing is tapping into the knowing that is beyond the mind, the knowing that is beyond the human self that we all have access to. Right? So through the third eye, our intuition is activated. And when we're looking to manifest new love, we can use our intuition to direct us to the love that is for our highest good, to the manifestation of tribe, friends, romance that is for our highest good. Right? We can all start to do this by noticing intuition, spiritual knowing being received. Right? An intuition, an intuitive hit, a download is something that we receive. There is no force. There is no squeezing, no pushing. Intuition is something that drops into us. We've all experienced this to a degree. But what I'm encouraging you to do here in this moment is to start to bring more deeper awareness to this ability. That this is a gift. This is a superpower that we all have. This is not a Harrison is intuitive. This is not a Christy, a Mel, a Sharon is intuitive. No, everyone is intuitive. What is different is the level of acceptance, level of awareness, level of understanding we have around this gift. I'm going to speak later about some of the things that usually get in the way of this as the last piece here today. But just for now, the act of simply celebrating, simply having gratitude, simply acknowledging the moments that you get an intuitive hit around a relationship, around a download that comes in connection to a new friendship, a new tribe situation, that will strengthen your intuitive muscle. And the more this is strengthened, the more that it will start giving you more feedback. So this becomes another spiritual gym, spirit gym activity that you can learn to flex. Okay, next up, welcome Sharon in the chat. I see you there, my lovely friend. Next up here is the third eye in manifesting love, is the consciousness, understanding of perception. So remember, the third eye is your ability to observe. You could just end it there, to observe, but let's add more to it. Your ability to observe, in this case, the external world in which you are manifesting. I'll share a quote here that most of us have probably heard, is, you do not see things how they are. You see things how you are. You do not see things how they are, or you do not see things how they objectively are. You see them how you are. This is perception. This is the understanding that the external world is a reflection of not just your current state of consciousness, but the current perception that you are placing on, in this case, your third eye awareness, your awareness. So why is this important? Why is this relevant to manifesting new love? Well, I'll use one very specific, simple example. If you have had a past relationship, romantic friendship, that was abusive, that was filled with pain, filled with trauma, and because of that past relationship, past pain, you now most likely unconsciously hold the story or the perception that future relationships, future manifestations of love will hurt you again, will cause more pain, will cause more trauma. If this is the story or the perception that you are holding on to, then this is what you will see. And this is not good or bad. Remember, we're trying to stay away from those polarities. That is just what you are unconsciously creating. So, coming back to manifesting love and perception and your third eye, you can learn to take note of the current stories that are reactivated, activating every time you're looking to manifest new love, new relationships, new dynamics. Is there a perception or story of, I will be hurt again? Is there a perception and story of, I don't deserve this love? Is there a perception and story of, I am the victim here? No, these are all things I've played and created. So can you relate to this? And most importantly, can you take back your third eye power of perception, release, let go, in most cases, forgive yourself, and create new perceptions, new stories, new realities that ultimately, in my opinion, align with the deepest of truth, that you deserve the love, you deserve new love, you deserve all the manifestations of romance, tribe, friendships that you can muster. If there is a current perception of pain, current perception of disconnection, fear, then that is truly what it is. It's an illusion, but you have to take the action to release that illusion. All right, let's keep it going. Welcome, Matthew, in at that chat. I see there, my friend. If, again, you have comments, questions that flow up during this chakra love session today, please leave them in the comment section as we flow. Next theme here with the third eye and manifesting new love is the theme of, and this is continuing here. We've talked about intuition, we've talked about perception, and now let's go a little bit deeper. The theme of awareness. And I'm not going to go too deep into this, because for all of you spiritually adept listeners out there, the awareness that I speak of is the awareness that you are, right? The deeper consciousness state, the deeper spiritual being that you are. But I just want to pop this in here. The awareness that I'm referring to through your third eye in relation to manifesting love is the I am presence, or the presence of source, or the awareness of source, the awareness of God, awareness of the divine, all the same name, that you are on the deepest of levels, right? This awareness is the consciousness that you're made of. This awareness is the divine source that you're made of. And what we can learn to do through the third eye in relation to new love that we wish to manifest is we can learn to tap into this awareness. We can learn to be this awareness. We can learn to make choices and step forward in this context, in the relationships that we have, from this awareness, from this presence, rather than from our old wounds or future expectations. We can be present with ourselves and allow this awareness of God, source, love that we are, to be us, because it is already us. It's not a adding on. It is not a claiming of this awareness. It is the awareness that is us already, that is inside of us, around us, everywhere. So just to make this as simple as possible, One way that we can do this is in the moments of relationships and connection with other people, especially new love that we're looking to connect deeper to through intimacy. We can be fully present in the moment. We can observe when we are losing ourselves in future expectations or losing ourselves in past pain, past stories, illusions, and come back to the present moment. Come back to how our body feels, come back to how our heart feels, come back to our senses, which is an interesting saying in itself, coming back to your senses. Why do you come back to your senses? Because it is through your senses, your vision, third eye, your hearing, your feeling, your smelling, your taste. It is through the senses we come back to what? This awareness. So I'll leave that one there because, again, we could do a whole episode just on that. But through the third eye, we tap into this deeper state of us. Next up here is through the third eye, your ability, the theme of imagination. The ability and theme of imagination / visualization. Imagination / visualization. It is through the third eye that we learn to visualize, imagine that which we want before we see it in the 3D world. Because in reality, as our previous laws describe, everything is within us. So if we start to close our eyes in this moment and we start to imagine / visualize a new relationship, a new love, a new friendship dynamic, a new tribe that we want, we see it, maybe we feel it, maybe we can connect to something we hear around it, again, tuning into our senses. As soon as we tap into that visualization / imagination, it is already real. Because if it is in us, it is outside of us. Right? Because remember, everything in consciousness is in. So it is through our senses of imagination and visualization that we create the new love that we want. Remembering that it's not a going out and getting, a going out and forcing and pushing. We can do that. But I would ask all of you listening and watching, how has that turned out? When you've gone out to push and get, especially with no inspired action, just because you think you have to, has that turned out good? When I answer that question, it hasn't. Right? It's always led to more burnout. Right? It's always led to more separation. So when we go within and we visualize, we feel, we connect to it, we see it as if it's already real because it is real. Then once it manifests in the 3D, that's secondary. And this is the biggest tip here I can give with the visualization and the imagination. If we are imagining and visualizing a new romance, a new friendship, a new tribe, and we see it, we feel it, we bring our awareness to it internally, the biggest tip here is to hold gratitude for the fact that it's already happened, the fact that it's already been fulfilled, the fact that you already have it. And it's in that fulfillment, in that gratitude, in that acknowledgement, it happens. It reflects in our 3D world. So this is really, again, another one of our superpowers that we can apply through the third eye and manifesting the love that we want. Okay. Next up here. This is speeding through so quick. Got a couple more to go. Okay, next up here is the theme of dreaming, the theme of using your ability to dream through the third eye. So your third eye center also governs your ability to dream. So I don't mean dream in terms of dreaming a new reality, a goal. We could talk about that, but let's leave that aside for a moment. What I'm referring to is the dreams you have at night, the dreams in which you create certain realities at night. And I've done a few episodes on this, which I will put in the show notes of this episode, but I'll highlight this here in this moment. Our nighttime dreamscape holds two very important roles. The first role is that it is a loving communication between our unconscious and conscious mind to help us with situations, experiences in our waking state. So communication, this is why we often have nightmares, why we often see repeating symbols and archetypes in our dreamscape, because it's the unconscious letting our conscious mind know what needs to be done in the waking state. So if you're looking to manifest new love and you constantly keep having dreams at night of your mother, your father, past friends, past lovers, those symbols, those dreamscape experiences are there to help you manifest the new love in your waking state. So it is of our best interest, highest interest, to open to those teachings, especially if you have reoccurring nightmares, because it's easy to think that a nightmare is a bad thing that's happening to us. Something outside of us is attacking us, right? We wake up in fear. But in reality, what a nightmare is again, it's your unconscious shadow, the unconscious pieces of you that are in fear, that are in some kind of resistance, suppression, that are looking for your attention to be integrated, to be brought back into the light, so you can learn and shift and evolve. In this instance, evolve into new love, new romance, new friends, new tribe. So that's really the first big category of your dreams at night through your third eye. The second category of dreams is a spiritual playground in which you can go deep into all of your spiritual abilities. All of these spiritual abilities that we've talked about already today, your intuitive knowing, your spiritual downloads, your perception, your awareness, your visualization. Your dreamscape at night acts as a playground in which you can flex these muscles, use these abilities. Because it is in our dreamscape that we are often less inhibited by our stories, less inhibited by our limiting belief systems. So we can actually do the things that we were born to do in our dreams. But what we can open our hearts to is that it doesn't just have to be in our dreams. It doesn't just have to be in our dreams in which we are magical. We can bring the magic that we feel, that we experience, that we embody in our dreamscape at night into our waking state. Right? So if you are a kind of person that astral travels, if you're a kind of a person that remote views, if you're a kind of person that connects into all of your voyances in your dreamscape, then there is nothing stopping you from doing that in your waking state. What is stopping you is 99% of the time you. So bridge that gap. Bridge that gap between what is happening in your sleep state and what you wish to manifest, what you wish to happen in your waking state. Very important lesson here. All right. And I'll add this little piece here before we get to the last point. This is not like I mentioned with intuition and your spiritual downloads. This is not a special person kind of thing. This is not a Harrison thing. We all have access to this kind of ability, expansion, but we have to be open to it. If you're listening to these words and there's a part of you that is resistant and doesn't believe it, I give you love, but I would compassionately and empathically ask you, is that true? Is it true that you're not magical? Is it true that you don't have these spiritual powers? Is it true that you don't deserve to manifest all of this beautiful spiritual love in the ways that you can only imagine? Test it. Okay, next point here is, and I've already spoken about this to a degree, the next point is manifesting through all of your senses, feeling it to be true. So I spoke about that earlier with using all of your senses when you're visualizing and imagining new love, using your third eye to connect to all of your senses to manifest that which you want to see. So I would just encourage you in your own practices, in your own routines, when you're looking to visualize and connect to new love, use all of your senses. So, for example, let's shift from romance. Let's say you're looking to manifest a new tribe. What it would look like is closing your eyes and not just seeing what that tribe would look like, seeing through your own eyes and being around a tribe, but also feeling the emotion of that. Also, maybe hearing some of the things that are being expressed. Maybe also smelling, maybe the natural setting that you're in, or the city setting that you're in. Tasting some of the things that you're sharing together. The more senses that we use, the deeper we go into the reality that we're creating through the third eye, through this new love that we want. So I'll wrap up this point and say that the more sensory awareness, the higher the likelihood that you see the new manifestation of love come into existence. Okay, and the last point here, the last element of your third eye in relation to manifesting new love, and it's awareness around some unconscious trauma that, if you're listening to this show today, I know a lot of souls in my community will have this, but if you're new to my show and you are a very spiritually evolved individual, or you've started your awakening path, there is most likely a seed of this pain that I'm about to explain. And if we can move through this pain, then we not only unlock more of ourselves, but we also potentially move through a shadow that's blocking new love coming into our life. And the pain and the trauma that I speak of is, often people call it the witch wound. I want to expand it out to not just the witch wound. The witch wound refers to past persecution that you had for being a spiritually awakened individual in ancient past, right? Not just in Salem, but being a spiritually evolved individual in a culture that saw it as demonic, or saw it as evil, or saw it as strange and beyond understanding. So not just that wound and that pain, but also there have been different events in our ancestral past, such as Atlantis, such as going back to celestial events, certain wars in the galaxy that you as a soul were a part of, Orion wars, many different situations, occurrences. I bring this up not to get stuck in those events, but to bring your awareness to the fact that when you start to awaken your third eye in any context, but specifically today through the manifesting of new love, you will most likely run into a wound in which, when you stepped into your power, stepped into your spiritual abilities, many of which we've talked about today, you were persecuted because of it. You were ostracized from the tribe because of it. You were potentially harmed, potentially in the case of the Salem challenges, you were burned because of it. So it's important to, once you start to awaken the third eye, that you notice when these fears, these wounds, these past pains, these past traumas are reactivated. And we're not here to get lost in the what, right? You don't need to go into the deep reasons behind it, right? A simple awareness of, oh, that is that making the link could be enough to release it. But if it's not, what I would encourage you to do in this moment is, like you would any other shadow, like you would any other past pain, like you would any other wound, is to hold it in your love, is to hold it in your infinite heart space. I often refer to it as holding the child. So when this past fear, past pain, past persecution comes up, you see it, you feel it, and you love it until it's able to come back into the light or come back into your heart. And the symptom, which is really interesting to say, but the symptom of this, the symptom of you doing this specific shadow work, this specific trauma healing work, the symptom of that is you going deeper into your love, deeper into your heart, and then reflecting that externally, reflecting that into the new love that you're manifesting, reflecting that out into the external world in which you're looking to create a new reality, a new loving reality. So instead of, as an example, right, instead of attracting partners, attracting friends, attracting a tribe that has this same shadow that triggers you, you've now done the work, you've released it, you've brought awareness to it, you've felt it, and now you attract partners, tribe, friends that have that same integration, that have that same teaching, awareness, and integrated part of themselves. And this applies to all of your shadow work, right? Just to expand it even more. All right. That's it from me today here, beautiful beings. I hope this was I know there's a lot of a lot of content in this one, a lot of spiritual aspects and teachings. I hope it hits your heart. As always, here on these solo-sodes and these teaching episodes, don't just listen and receive, but take some action on what you heard today. What was the one thing? You don't have to do all the things. Just what was the one thing that activated you the most, that clicked the most, and go embody that. Don't take my word for it. Go live it in your own experience so you can see what it brings about in you. And as always, let me know how it goes. If this is the kind of work that you're looking to do, I do this in my mentoring and coaching. So please reach out. And if I have some spots available, we can go a bit deeper. If you have questions for my last part, so one more part to do in this series, I'm going to be talking about the crown, chakra, and manifesting love. So if you have future questions for that, please leave it in the comment section of Facebook or YouTube. But regardless, until next time here on the show, I send you love, I send you light, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye, everyone.